Well, hello and good morning. How you doing? It's Phil Thatch, and today I'm out using my Canon R7 and the 100 to 500. And of course, I have the lens hood from a 50 millimeter 1.2 because I like the way it's super small and stores super light. But that's what I'm shooting with today, and I'm at a location that I've never worked at before, and it's very close to the Summit Knobs Equestrian Trail where I normally work. As a matter of fact, if you look over in this direction, let me go this way. Look over here, you may be able to see some power lines going through the scene, and just maybe 100 yards in that direction, maybe 200 yards in that direction, is the gravel road that leads to the Summit Knobs Equestrian Trail. And this structure behind me here is a middle school that they've built. Matter of fact, I was doing photography on the gravel road that leads to the Summit Knobs Equestrian Trail before they started working on building this school. It's not a middle school, I think it's an elementary school. One of them. It's for little kids. And I came down here last Sunday after I got done doing some work, and I drove along this road. I've never even entered their property before because I'm always over there. And I drove down through here and I said, holy cow, this field of young pine trees and other things might be a pretty good place for bird photography. And I know there's birds near here because there's some right over there at the Summit Knobs Equestrian Trail. So the next day that I could do photography was Thursday. Well, you can't come down here on Thursday morning because this is a school and it's full of kids and stuff. So the next time I could do photography was today, which is another Sunday, and nobody's here. Actually, two other cars have showed up. One was a couple that got out and walked around, and another was a lady who got out and walked her dog. But other than that, it's just me here, and I've been enjoying using the R7 and the 100 to 500. I have found a few birds. I think the first bird that I saw was a Carolina wren. First shot of the day, it's this Carolina wren, not much light. I had my shutter speed all the way down at 1/125th. It was just a few moments after sunrise. And my ISO, wide open at 7.1 was the aperture, and that left my ISO at 4,000. This is a 500 millimeter shot, as most of the shots today will be. This is a little bit later and a little bit better light. Still at 1/125th of a second, but instead of 4,000 ISO, this is 640 ISO. Still at 7.1, still at 500 millimeters. Here's another shot on that same branch of the same bird with the same settings. I just love Carolina wren, and I'm always happy to see them, even though I can see them all year round here in Eastern Tennessee. Another shot on the same perch. I'm still at 1/125th of a second and 640 ISO. The next bird I saw was a Magnolia warbler, which the first time I ever got a photograph of a Magnolia warbler, I'm pretty sure this is a Magnolia warbler. First time I ever got a shot of one was just last Thursday, and here it is today on Sunday, a few hundred yards away, and I got another one. So that's pretty cool. Here's my first shot of the Magnolia warbler, and a couple of times when I showed Google image search this bird, it said that it was a northern parula, but it's not, because northern parula don't have these stripes right here on the belly, and it's just a female or immature Magnolia warbler like I got last week. This is 1/400th of a second. I've got lots more shutter speed now, still 500 millimeters and f7.1, and this is 400 ISO. Got another shot. This one also looks a lot like a northern parula, but the same thing. These stripes right here you won't find on a northern parula. This one's also 1/400th of a second, and this one's 800 ISO. Another shot of the beautiful Magnolia warbler. 1600 ISO for this one, a little less light in this particular area. Still at 1/400th of a second. And here's a shot of the Magnolia warbler looking at us, 1/400th of a second and 1000 ISO. All the rest of my Magnolia warbler shots are on this same perch. And this one's 500 millimeters, f7.1, 1/400th of a second, and 1000 ISO. Just so beautiful. And I got this one and this one, same exact settings, just a slightly different pose. And this one with the same settings, and this one with the same settings. And I think one more, yeah, this one with the same settings. Really happy to see this bird. Only the second time I've ever photographed one. And here's the All About Birds website, just in case you're doubting me, because that does look quite a bit like a northern parula, but it's a female / immature male. You can see the spots right here give it away. This area being yellow kind of makes it look like a parula, but it's a Magnolia warbler. Next, I got some more shots of Carolina wren. Here's another shot of a Carolina wren. This is 1/400th of a second, 500 millimeters, f7.1, and 1250 ISO. Really happy with the way this shot turned out. There's a leaf right here that's in the foreground, or maybe it's the background, I'm not sure, but it's out of focus and it's almost interfering with the bird's head, but it's not, so that's fine, and I like it. Then I saw an eastern phoebe that I think I may have gotten an acceptable shot of. I've got two photographs of the eastern phoebe to show you. I'm up to 1/800th of a second now, 500 millimeters, wide open at 7.1 and 2000 ISO. The first one, I like the light on the bird's face, and the second one, I like the head angle of the bird's face, but I don't like the light on it as much. So I wish I could combine the light on the bird's face from this shot and the head angle from this shot, and then I'd be on to something. Then I got some shots of my favorite bird of autumn. As a matter of fact, I've been all up and down. I guess it's probably 1/8 of a mile along here. There's a stand of trees, and then on the other side of it is where the power lines cut through. And I got some of my shots back there and some of my shots here. The sun's rising in that direction, so I had pretty good light on the birds once the sun came up. But the next bird I got in this particular shot was right here. I mean, just right there. Got some really good shots of my favorite bird of autumn. It's the brown thrasher, state bird of Georgia. Love that bird, and I got him pretty close, maybe 25 feet away with good light on it. And this lens, the 100 to 500 on the 1.6 crop R7, is 800 millimeters full frame equivalent, so I was nearly filling the frame with it. Love the brown thrasher. Got some vegetation in the foreground in these brown thrasher shots, but I don't think it hurts the shot too much. This is 1/800th of a second, 500 millimeters, wide open at 7.1, and 400 ISO. Just look at the detail. Just really love the resolution of that 100 to 500 Canon lens. Here's another shot on that same perch looking the other direction. Same settings, except the ISO's dropped down to 320. It was 400 in the first one. And I think I have two more. I love the pose in this one. 320 ISO for this one. 1/800th, 7.1, and 500 millimeters. Nice detail. Just love that. And one last one with the exact same settings. And once again, you can see the fantastic detail in these brown thrasher shots. Next, I got what is probably an unacceptable photograph of an eastern phoebe, and it was on this guardrail. It was like right here on one of these rubber pieces along this guardrail, but it was, oh, look at that. The eastern phoebe is in that, it's on the guardrail right now. So let's look at that eastern phoebe shot that's probably not very good. So here's the eastern phoebe, and it's doing the same pose to a certain extent as this brown thrasher that I photographed earlier. I really like the way this photo turned out. It's 1/800th of a second and 320 ISO. I'm still at 500 millimeters and still wide open at 7.1. Then I got a male northern cardinal kind of back that way, somewhat deep in some trees and branches and leaves, but I think the shot's going to be okay. And here's the cardinal that's deep in the foliage. Another 500 millimeter shot at f7.1. This one's 1/800th of a second and 400 ISO. Handsome looking male northern cardinal, I thought. Got a little shadow right here, but it's not bad. And last but not least is the eastern phoebe that I just photographed while I was recording this video clip of the eastern phoebe once again on the guardrail. Now this is the eastern phoebe shot on the guardrail that you saw me make while I was talking about the last shot. I saw this bird and made this photo. This is 1/800th of a second, 500 millimeters f7.1, and 400 ISO. And then as I was leaving, I had everything all packed up and I was slowly rolling out. And as I was leaving the school, I looked over and saw this cute rabbit and made a photograph of it at 1/800th of a second. This is 500 millimeters, f7.1, and 640 ISO. I made a squeaking sound, as I often do, to try to get the rabbit to turn and look at me. And instead of looking at me, it ran. There you can see it's kind of got the foliage here cleared out. It ran one step forward, made a left, and was gone. So this is the only shot I got of the rabbit, but I was trying to get it to turn its head towards me. I used to absolutely love the R7, and now I've just gotten used to using cameras like the A6700, which I think is a little bit better for perched birds, and the OM System OM1 Mark II, which is way better for perched birds, and the Nikon Z8, which is way better for perched birds. So not really fond of the R7 that much anymore, although I do love the 32.5 megapixels of its 1.6 crop sensor. I love that. Man, if you could put this amount of megapixels in the OM1 Mark II, holy smokes, it would be awesome. And I love this lens, this 100 to 500, even though it's only 500 millimeters. It's just super sharp. So love that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, reach down, hit thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. If you want to see some more stuff like this, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.